Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again is my partner in crime, Kenny Boucher. What's up, dog?
Great to be here.
I feel like we did that once already.
Yeah. It's the second take.
This is take two. So once again, Wyatt is not here. He tried to connect, but couldn't get the tubes to connect. He's in New Orleans at the Frontline event this weekend. So shout out to Wyatt. Hope he does well.
We live vicariously through Wyatt's tournament exploits. Yeah, he's bringing his Black Legion retooled. One last chance. Kind of like one last chance. He needs to really do well to make sure to secure the best Gas Marine player position.
That's why he painted the Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He's got. We've been talking about it in tactics for a couple weeks. Some janky Black Legion mechanics and stratagems. I mailed him 2 Helldrakes to borrow.
Oh shit!
Showed up just in time, like this morning.
I mailed you a attack bike sidecar.
Oh, did you?
And plastic bike.
Tight. I'm working on that jet bike right now. And then
That's looking good. I guess, what is that, Blood Angels?
No, it's Astral Tigers. That's how we workshopped it. It's bright orange.
It is poppy.
Yeah, I got one of those new pre-order jet bikes from Rob's made 3D made to order shop, Dark Age Designs, and I workshopped it on Twitch. What color scheme? And we got all the normal shit: purple, green, Black Templar, every dumb thing, right? It's like, guys, we did all this. I guess I'll do one of these. But someone was like, bright orange. I was like, have we done one of those?
No.
And then it was like,
so
we did a straw poll, and then people voted for bright orange. Space Wolves almost got it, but it ended up being the orange. And I was like, is there a Legion that's orange? And then people were like, yeah, Astral Tigers, baby. I was like, cool, that's what we're doing. So
I like it.
Check that out on Twitch. Check the VODs out. Put all that on my Patreon page. I edit down the game show elements to Twitch. Put in a nice little consolidated post so everyone who supports me on Patreon could watch it. With
it's a lot of work.
It's
it is.
It's more work than not doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everything we do is work at this point. But no, that's.
But I mean, it's kind of been like what I've been doing for like the last 18 months is just like let's say I stream a model for 6 episodes, six live shows, right? That's 3 hours a show. Well, it ends up being about 2 hours of painting after intros, promos, talking with chat, and doing our whip session.
Right.
So it's 12. It ends up being like a 6-volume series. Ends up being like 12 long form hours of painting content. And so I make sure to cut that out for you. So when you go and consume it on Patreon, you don't have to like fast forward or anything. So then it's like, this is no movie magic. This took 12 hours to paint. And obviously I'm talking to the chat while doing the paint jobs, but like you're also hearing what is being discussed in like an educated manner. So even if it took me 12 hours in those clips to produce the content, if you took out all the talking to people explaining what I'm doing, it might even just only be 8 hours of work. So like a lot of these projects are already happening faster than people think. And it can happen even faster yet. Like putting down a sick paint job, if you're just following the right procedure with the right tools, it's actually pretty quick.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great tool to get a lot of paint, the bulk of the paint down for sure.
And also doing something like, okay, let's do some bright ass orange. I actually have to workshop this color scheme because I haven't actually done one. And I already know there's going to be some issues. And so I actually kind of like a false start. I kind of built it up a certain way and I almost had to kind of reset it. I was like, I think that we ended up doing too many things that we didn't have to do. And I should have used this orange instead of that orange. And then I kind of like audibled and came back from it showing that like, okay, this could have been even faster and easier. And we haven't even done the rider yet, right? So we're going to like prove if what we learned on the bike will work on the rider, or if it looks so different they don't match. We're going to find that out tomorrow.
Oh, when you match them up.
Yeah.
Well, they are. The item is up on the site. The set of 3 jet bikes. One's a shooty guy, one's a choppy guy, and one's just like got both hands on the handlebars. So we're gonna make them live. You can sign up to get on the email list to be the first to know. Because I actually don't know what day I'm doing it, but I always send it out to the email list first by a couple days. And judging by the amount of orders we get for these things, it's probably better to pre-order it because you'll get it faster if you need it for a tournament or something. So look for that over on the
I have to figure out if I'm doing. I think I'm doing sword arm on my guy.
I think that's the right arm. I forget.
Because he has his
left
gun
is pistol.
Yeah, and the gun is like on that. The gun's already in his like whole hip holster on the right side, so it's like.
And you can get the STLs from Dark Age Designs. Print your own. It comes with a lot more pieces too. Like if you want to get crazy and have double fisting swords, like it's totally possible.
I was gonna ask this. Like, there's no shoulder pads come with the kit. You just use your own.
No, it's a sci-fi. Yeah, it's just sci-fi.
Sci-fi warrior
agnostic.
Put shoulder pads on him from some other kit.
But it's compatible with other 28 miniature scale products out there. If you happen to have some shoulder pads or a backpack or maybe some heads you want to use, they'll probably fit.
Probably going to do some of that tomorrow.
Yeah, how about that?
It's been a fun paint job, man, and pretty sick looking model, very Star Wars like, and I even painted the viewfinder, which is on Patreon. His little view screen, like the radar screen. I was like, oh, we'll do a little radar thing. I was like, wait, there's got to be something better we can do. We actually found the graphic of like Luke's X-Wing when he's shooting the Death Star missile, and you see that little holographic like trench that he's
little and this
he's flying through. And so I was like, I pulled that up on the screen. It's in the fucking on Patreon, and we paint that into his view screen because he's very Star Wars-esque the way he's mounted on that speeder and like fucking in that gangster lane, So I was like, pretty cool model, man. Yeah, definitely check that shit out if you haven't already gotten on the email list.
Yeah, those are pretty cool looking. So we don't have Wyatt here tonight. He is in New Orleans, so we don't have a Would You Rather, but maybe we'll do 2 back-to-back next week. Make up for it. I think we only have how many shows we got left because Christmas is like. So I guess we only have 1 show left.
Oh yeah, we only have this. This is the same thing. Yeah, 16th is our last show. Next week is our last show.
Yeah, and then we probably won't do anything because the next week after is basically
New Year's, the eve of New Year's Eve, and I will be traveling, and I'm sure other people,
So we probably won't be back till January 6th after next week.
Pretty classic. That happens a lot, I think, to us. I think this exact thing happens all the time.
No, it's not. It's not a bad thing. I mean, we pretty much stream every week or do the podcast every week, except for like a couple of holidays.
Oh, why? Oh, Haspel says he's been waiting to make this announcement. Space Marine 2 confirmed.
I wonder who they're going to get to do voice acting.
Space Marine 2, the video game? Or the movie? What are we talking about? It's a video game. The movie's Ultramarine.
Oh, so like the one that came in
Xbox.
Xbox, yeah. Woo!
That was a sick fucking game, dude.
Yeah, it was.
That was a sick fucking game.
It was a little limited by its time, but man, holy cow. It was definitely something. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh.
Captain Titus is back. Oh boy.
That game was sick, man. I'm excited.
This dude's crushing it on the official Xbox channel.
Someone's playing like a demo of it?
No, it's got a shit ton of views already. It's Tyranids. Tyranids going up against the Imperial Guard, and then the Marines come. It's kind of like that intro with the Indominus intro almost, with like cathedrals and shit. Except for instead of Necrons, it's Space Marines. Oh, he takes off his hat, his helmet at the end.
Is it The Rock?
It's not The Rock, no.
Everybody's like, Henry Cavill voiceover, and they just like list every character's name. I'm like, I want to get Dwayne Johnson in here.
Oh boy.
Well, that's exciting news.
Yeah, that's might have to buy an Xbox now. Well,
I want a Nintendo Switch super bad. I didn't even know I wanted a Nintendo Switch until like last Sunday. I'm playing Diablo on stream, and I was like, yeah, blah blah blah. And my friend Mark from Florida was like, yeah, I played it on my Switch. You're like, I can transfer to my PC and play with you. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah, man. I was like, hold on, I fucking need that. I was like, I have an irrational requirement to own a fucking Nintendo Switch now.
I think they're kind of hard to get. I don't know.
I don't know anything about them. I don't know what the one I would need is. I've never owned a device like that. I just know that like every Christmas comes around and all my family members are like, oh, you're so hard to shop for, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just don't care. I'll just buy you dope shit and you'll give me something that you think I need and I'll pretend I like it. But this time, I'm like, I want a Nintendo Switch. And people are like, that's kind of expensive. I was like, okay. Never talk about how hard I am to shop for again. Just give me a t-shirt for my own swag shop.
Just give me some underwear. Give me some underwear. I too like underwear, but I'll buy my own. I had a weird how am I going to discuss this with my employees moment, because one of my guys, his dryer isn't working. So he's like, yo, can I use your washer and dryer? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I had just done my laundry and I couldn't find a particular pair of underwear. And I was like, damn it. Cause sometimes they're like up inside the swoosher. And I'm like, oh shit, was it in there? Did he grab it? Is he going to ask me questions? Because they're obnoxiously orange just because they're funny. And I like wearing funny underwear, and they're just obnoxiously orange. And they have like a beach scene on them. It's just this is the most obnoxious thing ever. And I couldn't find them for the longest time, but I ended up finding them in my dirty laundry basket because I guess I didn't wash them after all. I'm an idiot. But I was like, man,
somebody almost saw your secret underwear.
But I was like gaming it in my head. I was like, is he going to get my underwear and then be like, what the fuck? And then realize that my shit was still in my dryer and that he grabbed it, and then like, is he going to have an internal debate to not should he mention it? And
I just gonna wear them, dog. Like
because I didn't.
Obviously, the secret to your success is the underwear. I would just take those underwear and start wearing them.
But I have a ridiculous like waist size, so like I'm not sure everybody can wear my underwear.
Yeah, I'll make it happen, dog. It's clearly
you might break them.
Yeah, I'll stitch them back up, Frankenstein them back together.
And we've just gone in a different route than I was comfortable with. But okay. So anyways, that's
no would you rathers, as mentioned.
Just
wily ass, crazy orange power underwear story.
Beach underwear. With palm trees and shit.
That is clearly meant to be seen by people, but Rob doesn't want people to see them.
People see them.
I know, your employees saw them.
Well, I mean, that's a different story.
He wears them now.
No, that never happened. But it could have. I have the weirdest problems sometimes.
These aren't problems that other people have. But I acknowledge that they're your problems.
They're obnoxious. I like obnoxious underwear. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for my poor taste in underwear. Anyways.
I don't think anyone is asking you to apologize. They're just judging you.
Let's talk about some new releases, shall we? Judge me all you want. I don't care. I am. I also have three layers. 3 layers on. It's also 30 degrees outside, so I'm not sorry about that either.
How hot is it inside your house, though?
So like the way my house is laid out with the thermostats means I'm literally always in the coldest room. So I recently put a heater in here and I wasn't sure how cold it was, but it's like 5 degrees colder than the thermostat says, like always. It could be because this is a concrete slab as well. The one room in the house that's on a concrete slab, I chose to make my office.
Was it like 60, 50 in there?
It was 65 in here, which is basically freezing for my people.
Yeah, I think it's about the same down here right now, like 66 when I checked the thermostat on the way to my office. Definitely colder than I like.
No, I do not like. I remember you turned your heat on when I came out and visited.
It's like the first time I was like, I'm not even sure we have one.
It felt good. That was you got some good heats there. Some quality heats.
Like brand new, like never used before.
Never used, straight out of the wrapper.
Yeah. I caught you in my office trying to do work all covered in like blankets and shit, like freezing your ass off.
I have a problem with heat, with cold.
I didn't make fun of you. I was like, no, it's cold down here. You're right.
I just run a little hot. I gotta stay in the hot zone. Oh, you know what else you can buy for Saren? They have these heating pads that are pressure activated. So when your pet, big or small, you have to put, like they go in a bed, or you put like a towel over it because it can't be direct on your pet. But when they lay on it, it somehow it knows the pressure and it turns on. So it doesn't have like an on off switch.
Pressure sensitive heat pad. I'm putting that in my list.
There may be a cat sleeping on one right now.
Pressure heat. Got it. Thank you. For my little puppy.
It's gonna get all the things. Knowing you probably get it like the same day. Amazon. What do they call that? Amazon Super Freak.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. All right, so new release time. We'll go into the Tabletop Market Watch. Coming out this week. Actually, what is it? What is this week? Yeah, pre-orders this week. So the Battle Forces will be in stores this week if you're looking for that. But going on pre-order this Saturday is going to be the new Shadow Throne box for $170. That's the one with the new Gene Stealer Cult Duder, new Custodes Duder. They are $170, but there's roughly $103-ish value, depending on what they end up selling the characters for at some point. So total of roughly $273 in there. So $100 value for $170 box. It's about what we've been seeing for the past 2 years or so. You split it with a friend, pick up the figures singly off eBay. I think the Grey Knight and the 1,000 Sun one's still going for about $50-ish on eBay last time I checked. So there's always that. You can get them on secondary market. They are both that and the new Maggotkin of Nurgle box, which is a little bit less price point than a Combat Patrols. Remember, Combat Patrols are $140. This is a Sigmar box. It's their new Vanguard box, which is their pivot from the Start Collecting boxes. That one's going for $125, and it has $67 of value in it. So it's almost $200 total value in that box. And of course, most people can get this stuff at a discount at their local game store. At least 15% off minimum advertised price. So there's definitely some value to be had there. Also coming out, going on pre-order this weekend is the Rotbringer Sorcerer, which is the new character for $30, which I thought it was going to be a little bit higher, but it is not. Battletome Maggotkin for $50. The War Scrolls, the cards basically for it for $30. And they're also in French if you are in Canada land. And then they've got the dice for $35, which I personally don't agree with. I think the price of dice has gone up, and the design and the look of the dice has definitely gone down. They haven't been innovating much at all. So like, I'm not into the dice as like a good value anymore at all. Kind of unfortunately, but I don't know how everybody else out there feels, but they just feel very plain to me lately. So that's kind of like the G-Dub side of things. Now I think I mentioned this back in October that they were thinking about rolling out the automation. They were just putting the finishing touches on the warehouse expansion in Memphis. So it looks like they went ahead and put in all the automations and everything for that warehouse. So basically they got big Roombas going around picking all the orders and stuff right now, which has led to some interesting problems from the retailers I've spoken with. And even some customers have gotten orders in the mail, and it's like, hey, it's supposed to be this faction, but it's 2 boxes from this faction, and none of it makes sense. And it seems like they're picking, like say you have an order of 4 things, maybe one thing's on back order. They'll pick, instead of putting 3 things into a box and sending it, they'll do 3 individual things and put it in a box and send it. So they're still working out some bugs on the whole system. And there's some wild emails that have gone out to either people that are like, hey, I just made the order, I need to cancel it. Apparently you can't do that. You got to wait for it to go through the system because it's in some sort of automatic queue and they can't cancel it. So the best they can do now is, I guess, get you a call tag and you can return it after you get it, which is kind of fair in a lot of cases, because warehouses are so stressed. I recently had an issue with some clothing, and they're just like, yeah, you can't cancel anything. You can just log into the portal and do a return when you get it. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, because I ordered too many quantity of something because I wasn't watching because I had been drinking too much, but that's a personal problem. Anyways, so I don't feel like that's too unreasonable, but it's just the emails they're sending out to people with like the whole situation, like explained, they're just really wild. So me personally, I would not be rolling out new tech when you're at peak like sales and shipping. I probably would have waited until January to do that. But again, a lot of things I would do don't necessarily agree with the things that Games Workshop does. So here we are. Hopefully they get it all sorted out and clear the tubes, clear the huge logjam backlog, because retailers are still taking like 4 or 5 weeks to get their orders. And I know a lot of people that have ordered stuff that have had to wait just about as long for their personal orders. So it seems like the only thing that's going out on time right now is new releases. So there's that. But it was definitely worth mentioning. Well, Wargame Atlantic came out with a preview for what they're calling Space Brits, which is very traditional looking Praetorian models from, the British Army from what would I guess you call that, the 1800s. And they are wildly popular from the posts we put out and all the comments I saw on the engagement. So I would imagine those are going to do very well when they actually hit. This is just a preview of some art and 2 painted minis. I think they have the rest of the box painted, but they're just showing 2 of the minis. Remember, the stuff from Wargames Atlantic is generally you get 30 miniatures for $35, and they're very modular. You can make a lot of different versions out of them. And I think it's probably the most reasonably priced kits out there, and they're very well done for what they are. So, if you're looking to start a new army with a lot of models involved in it, they don't have too much for, sci-fi space warriors, aka space marines, but anything else out there that probably have something for that you can use just fine, and you might be able to make it work for you. So definitely think about checking them out and keep an eye on their Space Brit offering as well. Adepticon announced that the tickets will go on sale the 11th of January for Adepticon 2022. They'll have a preview lineup of all the events on, I think it was 26th or 28th of December. So right after Christmas time, we'll be able to see the actual lineups of events and kind of start thinking about what you might want to try to get in Q4 on the 11th of January. So that is, and there was also an update about social distancing and what they're going to require of you at the event. It looks like it is going to be a negative COVID test within 72 hours, but they'll have testing on site and or a vaccination card. So a lot of people, they might not be able to bring the card or whatever. So that's why they're going to have all this stuff on site as well. So, I think a lot of events out there are very
pretty
much
cool
the
that they'll
way.
have testing on site.
Yeah, they're going to have testing on site.
I'll tell you what, man, sometimes getting in line to get a test out here could take days, weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's just something to think about for sure.
I know that triggers some people.
I could see where some people will have something to say about it. Yes. Let's just hope we at least get Adepticon. That's the bigger issue, I feel like. So more on that on the way for sure. You may have seen a lot of rumors lately about the Eldar. There's an Eldar Advent engine, previews from Games Workshop. There's an Advent, basically rumor engine from some folks on the Eldari Discord that wrote up as they called it, I think an early playtest version of a lot of the rules. So they're very upfront, like, hey, a lot of the stuff could change. This is a very early version of it. And there's a tertiary set of rumors. Well, not really rumors. It's a really very well written write-up synopsis of a lot of the new things that are coming into Codex, rules mechanic wise. Also, a lot of models that are coming out that definitely coincide with a lot of the images we've already seen. And if they line up really well with some of the images we're going to see from the Advent calendar that's coming out every day during this year, then I think, being able to correlate rumors with actual facts is always good in the hobby. Of course, at the end of the day, everything is always 100% rumor until it's proven. So you can't take much stock in it, but it's so weird that there's 3 different sets of rumors out there for one, the return of Eldar. That's how highly anticipated they are. They haven't really seen a good model release in whole since the 90s. So I think a lot of people are going to be very excited when they do eventually hit, whenever that may be, between now and middle of next year, I would imagine. And last but certainly not least, I did want to mention that Rampart 3 is coming out. It's going on Kickstarter in January as well. And what I like about this project, I've already gotten all the stuff for it. One of the things that I didn't like about the first 2 projects was the lack of a good flooring system. And they seem to have solved that. Not only that, they came up with some really good stairs that are functional and some rails and things. So you could almost use this terrain for skirmish game stuff like Necromunda and things. And so it definitely has some value and some kind of cross gaming potential as well out there. And they're going to, a lot of the previously resin miniatures that they've offered in the past are going to be offered as hard plastic too. So this is going to be probably if you didn't get any of the Rampart stuff already, the terrain, sci-fi terrain, you might want to seriously consider this one just because of the fact that it's basically going to be a whole set of terrain, which is kind of what I think they envisioned in the first place. But, making the molds and everything is super expensive and you can only do so much from one Kickstarter. But I think going forward, the ability to get kind of a whole complete kit and also a lot of the miniatures they put out already in plastic will be pretty neat too. But I haven't got all the stuff together yet, but so far I'm liking what I'm seeing from them as well. So look for that. I think mid-January is when the Kickstarter is going to launch as of right now. So that's all the big stuff. And of course, everybody in chat again is saying Space Marine 2 has been announced. It's over on YouTube, the official Xbox channel. You can check it out. Oh, I guess we should do a shout out to, we got some new Patreons from last week. So it looks definitely want to thank, here they are. Hector Marquez, I believe that is, I'm terrible with last names. Gerard Chartier and James Gibson all joined up. Thank you guys. Super appreciate the support.
Oh, what's happening? T-shirt giveaway coming soon.
We're about 30 away. We're about 30 away.
Fuck.
So we need about 30 more. We're getting a couple each week. But we're about to go off the air for 2 weeks. So we need 15 people to sign up this week and 15 people to sign up next week.
Yep.
Our Patreon.
It'll happen. Thank you guys for migrating over to the new platform, longwar.net. Now redirects to the Patreon page. We finally got with the times. Speaking of the times, I have a few new designs on my hereticswag.com. I haven't drawn anything new, full disclosure, but a lot of new designs did get added this year. It's been a while since you visited my swag shop. And I did put out a holiday exclusive section. So there are some holiday exclusive beanies, shirts, cool Santa hats on guys that you don't expect to see them on, things like that. A few other things that to be discovered on that page. So hereticswag.com. If you're looking to get some gifts for your 40K maniac friends, I got you. Speaking of
t-shirts, most people buy t-shirts to give as gifts. So
that's true.
Definitely makes sense.
And we had some generosity hit the Twitch stream the other day. A lot of gifted subs, and so I'm giving away 10 $25 off discount cards to my swag shop. So you can also just be there on a Twitch show and then for free get $25. My shirts are $25. Hey, look at that. It's free.
Basically free.
So shirts. And I'm sure that when we do hit our goals on the Long War Patreon page, these shirts will be hype.
Yeah,
people will have an opportunity to sign up for an annual membership and receive a one-of-a-kind shirt for themselves.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Want to give me a Custody shirt? I've been saying that for like a year.
There is a new Custodes holiday shirt.
Yeah?
I took that big-ass banana head and put a little Santa head on it.
Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
It is. So, promotions aside, what's our big topic? What do you want to start with?
I think I head down and talk about the trading update from a Games Workshop. So I printed it out right here just so I could read it. So they put out, Games Workshop usually this time of year puts out kind of like an indicator of how their 6 months to their mid-year report's gonna go. And they had some interesting things to say. I'll just read a couple of lines here. So first off, they said that their trading is in line with expectations, that their sales are going to be not less than 190 million pounds. The amount from last year was 186.8 million pounds. So that technically they're only up about 3.2 million in revenue. So you might remember a lot of this groundbreaking increases in things over the past couple of years. Maybe not the case. Now, from 2020 to 2019, they went from 148 million pounds to 186 million pounds. From 2020 to 2021, they went from 186 to 190. So a bit of a slowdown. And, I think a lot of people are going to point to a lot of different reasons for that. We've talked about a lot of that already, but it's definitely showing in these numbers. They said their profit is going to be not less than 86 million pounds, which in 2020, it was 91.6 million pounds. So they're projecting that their profits are actually going to be down this 6 months. Now, from 2020 to 2019, they went from 58.6 million to 91.6. So they basically doubled.
So they doubled their profit during the first part of lockdown.
No.
And
2019 to 2020. So all of 2020.
Oh, sorry.
So they had a good year. There was a non-lockdown year in there. And then when lockdown hit, that's basically when their new year their new fiscal year started. So
and that's when they doubled their profit?
No, that's when they did not. So from...
You said 2019 to 2020.
Right.
It's 40 or 50 million.
Yeah. So it would be June of 2019 to June of 2020.
I see.
Was
an
increase of that was 58.6. So from June of 2020 to June of 2021, which is the majority of lockdown, a holiday, they started pushing stuff back like the Death Guard Codex that December. That was when they made their big 50 million increase, right?
During that swath of time.
Right. So from
now they're actually down in profit on projection.
Right. And well, they also had an 8th edition launch. Now, this year, this time period that they're actually down includes all the FOMO stuff, all the paywall releases, Dominion, multiple slowdowns, multiple pushbacks. So, and then all the snafus with IP, Warhammer Plus. So, okay. Anyways, let me keep reading. So they said our operating profit pre-royalties receivable is estimated to be down 15 million. So operating profit down 15 million. So they've said, we know it's down right now 6 million based on what they said here. So I think at the end of the day, when they crunch all the numbers, they're like, we're going to be down even more than that. So, but they said, this is due, and they put a label on it, due to foreign exchange movements, increased carriage costs, and the cost of paying more to our great staff. Our core business operating profit is broadly in line with last year's exceptional performance. So what that means is that their normal costs of, doing business really hasn't changed. Their fixed costs, stuff they can control, really hasn't changed much. What did change was... Because
even their sales were up.
Right.
Their sales were up. Their take was less.
Right. Their take is just less because you remember, and getting stuff from China is a problem right now. Mm-hmm. Brexit, a problem. So there's a lot of that. They talk about a lot of that right here too. So it's almost like, they don't talk anything about any of the missteps, any of that air quotes boycott or anything like that. They just talk about these issues, which are very real.
Why would they if they're presenting that their sales are up?
Right. Well, they're barely up.
Yeah, but they are up.
They are up. Correct. Yes. Now, here's where it gets interesting because they mentioned that licensing income has increased to 19 million pounds from 8.7 million pounds. So, for video games and things like that.
What's that difference again?
10 million, roughly 10 million.
So 10 million on licensing, but that doesn't factor into sales. Sales is a different category, right?
Well, revenue. When I say sales, it's overall revenue. It can come from
So that more than accounts for their upness in revenue.
It does.
Interesting. So they're actually down on sales.
When you break it apart like this, like they did, they are down in sales.
Of course, every business is going to...
Excuse me, they're down in revenue.
Yeah. Well, and we know, how much of that is sales? Well, we know that their licensing... They've made more money on licensing in that period of time than is the difference between what they're up in revenue from last year.
Right.
So we know that they are way down in sales, in actual retail sales.
I mean, if you go, but there's going to be a lot of questions getting asked. Like, was their growth sustainable? Was,
No, it wasn't. That's.
I mean, it probably wasn't. But was it sustainable? More than what has happened here, right? Because there's problems with profit here based on carriage costs, which are understandable, exchange problems, completely understandable given Brexit.
Yeah, that's the profit side. We now know the revenue side is what's like. So I can't do anything about that. Like you said, it's uncontrollable. But they're presenting that revenues are up a few $1 million, or potentially. But they also showed us that they're up $10 million in licensing revenue,
right?
Which means they're like down like $6 or $7 million in other revenue. So they did not actually sustain their growth in the them to us department. They lost. And so was it sustainable? Was it more sustainable? Could have they done other things to offset that? Mm-hmm. I see what your point is. Like,
but keep in mind too, this also, and we'll never know the breakdown unless they specifically say it, but this also includes all the people signing up for Warhammer Plus, which is kind of a wash because they gave away so much stuff and they continue to give away vouchers and things, right? Yeah. Which, spurs additional sales, which I understand. It's a business person. I get it. But there's a lot of things here that have happened that are kind of like falsely adding to the little bit of increase in sales they had over last year, whereas year to year before that, it was a 40 million increase. Well, yeah, roughly 40 million increase.
How much of that $40 million increase was licensing last year?
Last year, 2020's licensing was only 8.7 million. So
what was it before that? Was it $0? And so
it wasn't $0. I don't have that data, but it's basically who cares, because when we're talking tens of millions of dollars, I don't care about less than.
No, we're talking. It's up $40 million, and only 8 of it was licensing. So it doesn't matter if it went from 0 to 8. You still have $32 million. Exactly. And then coming into this year, they admit like we're down $15 million in profit. They said that, but we're up like $2 million in revenue. And it's our profit is strictly. It seems like they try to create the narrative, which is not. They're not saying things that aren't true. Right. They're like these costs went up. This went up. This went up. And
which is all true.
Which is all true. But also it is true that like $10 million of your revenue came from licensing deals.
Yeah. So it's a lot of baskets with different amounts being kind of like spun, which isn't illegal, or there's nothing wrong with it.
No, it's just, you're always going to.
Just got to read between the lines.
You got to show strength. You can't just be like, we fucked up and everything's garbage, guys. You'd be like, hey, we predicted this. This is fine. We're on board. We're mostly in line with last year. Look, and we're down $15 million in our take, but that's because of this, and this. You don't want to announce to the world and your shareholders that like you fucked up.
Right. But if I'm a shareholder and I'm concerned about, hey, is this thing going to take a dive? Where am I in at? I'm going to immediately start Googling and doing research on what's going on with Games Workshop. And immediately I'm going to find a bunch of shit about Henry Cavill and everything going mainstream. And that's great because that's going to bring more people into it. And that's what GW needs. That might actually be super beneficial to them in the near term. But I'm also going to find a lot of other stuff out there, depending on how far down the rabbit hole I go. And several, financial sites have already written about that. So that's going to come up in the searches about, kind of how the fan revolt, as they called it, not us, is a real thing. So it's going to be really interesting how this spins and where the stock goes, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters to GW, is the stock price and things. So I don't know.
It's crazy that the revenue didn't dip at all. The revenue actually went up. They found a way to make the revenue part of this equation go up. Right. And they incurred additional costs. That is, these are all facts. So their profit is less. So as a business, they did generate more revenue, but in order to generate that revenue, they incurred more costs than normal. And that is vastly due to situations outside their control. And it is pretty good, in my opinion, like leadership to not just be like, guys, it's COVID, it's the shipping lanes, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're trying to do as much as they can to show strength and to take the most amount of accountability by design and like almost like psychology that they can, while also not taking too much, like diving deeply into like where they went wrong. That's not even the type of document this is supposed to be. The fact is they did generate more revenue than last year. Last year was almost unsustainable, and they found a way to at least present that they even did better in revenue. But when you look at the numbers, you realize like they could have done even better. They could have done even better. So much of that money came from licensing, but a lot of it did come from sales, but not as much sales as last year.
I think when you do look at it, anybody with some skin in the game's just going to be like, these numbers are interesting, and
it's going down. Like you said this for years, like it's like, or for a year, like it's this uptick has been plateauing, and it's, I mean, like, and it is, and it's like I'll say it for them, like, bro, like people aren't interested in what they were interested in 3 years ago. No,
they're not, and they're not consuming content.
I'm not even attacking GW. Like we already did that in the pregame show. In the pregame show, we talked very deeply on the subject of like lazy promos and recycling things that once worked. So the only thing that is certain in business, that I have observed, I think Rob agrees with me on this, is like however you make money today won't be how you make money tomorrow.
No,
and if you every day you stay locked in the opposite of that mentality of like this is always going to work, is a day that you are losing money forever, because like the money you made tomorrow could have been 200, but it was 100. That's forever. That's gone forever. There's no like, well, I'll make 300 the next day. That's great, but you still never made that 100 yesterday, dog. Doesn't matter. Like, so, they're still locked into doing things they used to do with these. And they're still
going to be, because everything's in the pipeline, so you're going to have to really work hard at it to break.
And they did. They worked really hard. They worked really hard on their licensing deals. They worked
100%.
$10 million, maybe.
Yeah. And I'm not mad at the licensing. Like, I think the action figures and things that we've seen, and
that's actually pretty fucking smart, man. Like they got to know, like that marketing department's got to know, this is like, they're predicting these models, and like, they're like, you're gonna have to do something, guys. Like, we're have to get so suddenly we had all these cool licensed Marines and shit that we out of nowhere for like the last fucking year and a half. Seems like somebody's working overdrive on license.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to, because, their core business is models and rules. And one of those things is very easy to produce at home now, and the other one's very easy to find on the internet. So there's going to have to be a value proposition, like meeting us in the middle.
Yeah, look, they put out that survey, right?
Which was great.
Which is great. They are clearly aware of these things. They're aware that it's going to take them months to fix things, to years to fix things. But I think they are clearly aware that the way they made business, when Boucher Wyatt and Prospero came into existence, is no longer you can no longer make money doing that exact thing. They have to. Yeah. And so they have started licensing, started working on apps, started making entertainment.
Pivot to a membership based business model.
And so, good on them for that, right? And I do think they see what's going on, and I do think they're trying to pivot. And the problem is like they are trying to pivot, but like these boxes that keep coming out that are like not pivoting, they were, like you said, in the pipeline 18 months ago.
Yeah. So you're going to have to get creative with this stuff.
And
really
like I said,
fast.
I'll throw them a bone. Like, habit circles are changed, dog. Like, it's different. So that's not on you guys, So I think it's important that you do focus on like new cool things to help entice us as we move forward and get hype on the IP that we all fucking fell in love with,
Yeah.
But I mean, you predicted this. It was a classic. Rob Baer said this shit like 2 years ago.
And I think it's easily recoverable. I think you just upping the value proposition and not making it so scummy about how, the people are basically on to how they market, right? So you got to pivot, you got to change it, you got to make it seem like more value. You got to get out there and, kind of smooth some things over about some of the stuff, like, and then just even make fun of yourself. Self-deprecating humor is always good. So I think it's recoverable. I don't think we're past the point of no return.
No, man, fuck no. They're still this is still the second most profitable year in the history of their fucking company.
Yeah. But there's going to be some long nights, some hard work trying to figure out how to undo that pipeline of stuff and make it more appealing to the folks out there.
And I think it's got to be frustrating for them to realize, because they have to realize these things long before we realize these things about trends, that they are unable to move with any speed while like fucking clenching their fists with just pure rage and anger that they like have the solves. But it's like, it's such a huge ship, you know, like that they're waiting months for these solves to like actually show up, and they can only sometimes like push things through like a survey here or there or a new licensing deal, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, that's got to be frustrating, man. As like a CEO, as like, you know, who's, you know, accountable to like shareholders and like
it. Yeah.
Because they obviously are not unaware of it. Like, and as much as like sometimes we make them seem like they're so far removed from us, like, which they are. It's just like, they're not like stupid. They know what's going on. They know that like people aren't buying these box sets anymore. Fuck, we got to stop selling these box sets. Sir, we have like 16 more box sets in the pipeline that we already made, printed, set up promotions on. Fuck.
Yeah,
you know
like,
I mean?
what do we do? Like, unfucker it. But yeah, it's, yeah, I don't envy their position for sure, but it's recoverable, I feel like.
They look at this spreadsheet, they're like, damn, people don't give a fuck about lieutenants. How many more lieutenants did we make? 16 more, sir.
Yeah. Frustrating, but I don't know.
Meanwhile, the license department's over here like, yeah, we just licensed a new sick ass Base Ranger McFarlane. He's like, that's so tight. Keep up the good work, Doug.
Yeah. You keep doing what you're doing over there.
Keep it up, homie.
It's wacky.
Yeah, we just made $10 million, son.
It's wild out there. I don't know. Like, they'll figure it out. Or they won't, you know, and something else will come along, I guess.
I think they are diversifying. They're vastly diversifying the way they make money. It's not just about miniatures anymore. Like, it's just, you know, they were obviously planning this for a little bit, and it's like this timing is definitely not. But you know what? It's not in anyone's favor right now.
No, not even a little bit.
No.
So,
respect. I respect that document for what it is. They took what kind of accountability they can. It's a classic accounting document. It presents the facts. They didn't just blame it all. They blamed it on real things that are physically provable, and they didn't just, you know, like, which I don't know if that's even standard practice, but you know, so it's kind of like, yeah, Rob said this was exactly how it was going to look.
But again, this is just one blip. You know, we're really not going to know which way it's going for sure until, you know, the next 6 months report in June. So, and I'm sure a lot of people will be diving into. They said they'll be putting out their official half year report on 11th of January 2022. So, I'm sure a lot of people will be digging into that one for sure. So, more as we know it, I suppose.
Yeah, and they are. Chat, some good comments in chat. They are so far removed from us, the people at the top of that company, from like boots on the ground gaming, hobbying, like the hobby shop, that I do think it's difficult for them to realize how the irony of what they're trying to do is just making it worse sometimes. Like the fixes, the solves, like when all you have to do is meet the conflict with accountability and transparency, even if it's not even that.
But that's not what they teach. They're doing exactly what they teach in MBA courses and MBA classes.
Like, and that's that's what's so unfortunate, so ironic about all that shit. Is it's like, half of these things aren't even a big deal. Like, not even really objectively a big deal, but you make it a big deal when you pretend it doesn't exist.
Right.
When all you say is like, oh shit, transparency time, accountability time.
Yep.
Hey, as the leader, I'm gonna take accountability with full transparency. Well, what they teach those guys in school and what all their contemporaries hold them to is like, that's weakness. You can't show weakness, strength at all times. It's like, the irony of that is, we'll see. Like, we'll see how people feel about it. Oh, you mean universally everyone on planet Earth hates it when you're opaque and you're not transparent? You don't take accountability?
Yeah.
Where did you come up with that? Where did that come from? Where did that way of thinking come from? It baffles me.
I don't know. But,
and of course, somebody in chat did mention, is like, does 3D printing have anything to do with this? Oh, certainly. Certainly, people's access to affordable 3D printing for less than like half of these army boxes that they're selling us. You know, the makers market exploding. That certainly has something to do with it.
I would imagine it has something to do with it.
Yep.
But I guess we'll see. So, want to talk about some
secondaries?
New mission stuffs?
Yeah. I'm excited about these because we talked about the new way we're going to score primary and stuff last week, and how they're removing the mission primaries and putting in a new light, or the special mission primary. They changed how we score primaries. So it's like 4, 8, and 12, I think. So you lose 3. So they took those points out, right? Which is 1, 2. So like 6 points. They took like 6 points out of that equation, and said they would give us the mission primaries, which are like always on. So instead of like it being a mission secondary that you pick instead of one of the good secondaries, it's just always on. So that's the bonus. That's going to be the gap filler. Very in line with how the ITC champion pack used to be. And they said, we've got changes coming to the secondaries. Now we got to see some of those changes. We didn't get to see screenshots. We got to hear summaries. And so Rob compiled them. So let's go over the 3 big ones: retrieve Actarian data, engage on all fronts, and bring them down.
Actually, it won't take much to do the other changes because there isn't many.
Yeah.
So in No Mercy, No Respite, No Prisoners, the main change is that you get an additional VP for doing 50 to 99 wounds. 2 extra VPs for doing over 100 wounds of enemy units.
Couple bonuses. That's not bad. I've actually used that secondary once. I used it against AdMech at Vegas teams.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever used that one.
It was a wily off the cuff gut check. I was like, data engage. I'm looking at the vehicles. The thing is, because Bring It Down sucks, right? I was like,
Oh, that's true.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at all the little Skitari dudes floating on a table. I was like, all right, here's the situation, Kenny. They're the problem. All those mortal wounds, all their little fucking things they do, and their ability to do and get, like, their ability to do actions. I was like, you have to remember that that's your primary target at all times. And so I need something to remind you of that. You know what I mean? And I took that secondary and I killed every model in this fucking army.
Yep.
Would have got more points. I would have got 2 more points though with the new rules. Would have got 100 points instead of 98.
For Battlefield Supremacy, the only change was engage. You still score the 2 VPs at the end of the turn, but you must have to have at least 3 models, be a vehicle or a monster to get all the points. So minimum squad size 3.
Yeah, weird commas, but what it means is like a monster or a vehicle can perform engage, or at least a 3-man unit. So you can't. So which isn't a huge change because like I wasn't engaging very often, at least in my force. Like I'll use my Death Guard analogy with my 6-0 performance at Las Vegas teams, right?
I just put that in there.
Yeah, I got my street cred right there in 9th edition. So I'll use how that army works. I always take engage. I always take retrieve Octarian data. And then on my 3rd secondary, it's usually default grind him down, which is, kill more of him than me. But then I'll pivot it. Bring it down a good one here, et cetera, et cetera. So when I'm engaging, I have 2 Defilers, 3 Plague Burst Crawlers, 2 units of Cultists, 1 unit of Plague Marines, and then I D-Strike and Death Shrouds and a character. And I have Mortarion, right? So most of the time I'm getting engaged quite easily. And I also have 1 Greater Blight Drone. So he's a big part of my engage. He's a vehicle. And the things in my back quadrants are always going to be squads or vehicles. Later, as that turn progresses, when my Death Shrouds drop in, they're going to be it. And I've always known that I can drop the Lord of Contagion in a different quadrant to maintain it. So the only thing that changes is I can't do that. Like he can't be an element I break apart for them in order to achieve that goal. Small change. I think I've done it once or twice. Collectively, 6 points total over 6 games. Change that. Remember, that's not how it works. Plan for that. Small tweak, okay? Not a big deal. So, but I like it because I know other people are able to abuse it with their characters and stuff.
Yeah. I think it's still fine change. And then under purge the enemy, so bring it down. 1 VP for each enemy vehicle or monster killed with 9 or fewer wounds. 2 for 10 to 14 wounds, and 3 for each one with 15 plus wounds.
The bring it down, it should have always been. That's a much better breakdown. Because that's why bring it down, what was like, it looks obvious. Because in the old days, it was basically tweaked down to something like that. You go up against certain armies and you look at bring it down, you're like, I just can't, like, it looks like I should be able to max it, but I can't. Right? So now bring it down becomes highly viable in a lot of matchups that I had at Vegas teams when I didn't take it. So that's pretty fucking cool. And that's streamlined. Now rhinos give up 2 points. Like, it's like, there's no weird shit about it. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good change. I mean, especially for guard, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna like not take tanks now because they're all the same.
Yeah, it's a good rule. Really streamlines the secondary and makes it more viable, and it promotes picking something that tells you to kill something, which I like.
For shadow operations, retrieve Octarius data is going bye-bye. Now it's going to be retrieve Nachmun data.
Oh, God.
Nachmun. This can now be attempted by an infantry or biker per turn if they're more than 6.
That's different, right? Because it's infantry keyword, biker keyword. It used to be infantry non-character keyword.
Oh, true.
So that's right at the gate. That opens it up to bikers and characters.
If they are more than 6 inches from another table quarter.
Same rule.
So at the end of your turn, you roll a d6, subtracting 1 if the unit performing the action is a troop choice. If you roll less than or equal to the number of models in the unit, the action is completed.
Which is interesting, right? Because we talked about this specific secondary last week, and one of the problems is passive scoring. Engineers and recon ITC pre-9th edition, that became kind of like the staple. 2 secondaries that didn't require me to engage with you in any fucking way, right? And then hold more, kill more. So at least we had a kill more, and that's something I feel like is missing from 9th edition. So I would really hope if mission primaries, these bonus primaries, were all based on killing, because that reminds you I got to kill something this turn, right? And then kill more for that extra bonus point. That is a crucial missing element, in my opinion, to 9th edition 40K. Even though I loved the missions and I think it made so many things viable, Octarian data is like the fucking engineer's plague of that old setup. Doesn't require, it's worth a lot of points. It's easy to do, and I don't have to do anything to achieve it. Me and Wyatt had proposed maybe, set it up so that you don't secure the action instantly. Maybe you have to wait, you have to do it until your next command phase. Then suddenly I wouldn't be so confident based on certain deployment maps and terrain. Well, no, they kept the old wording. They did make it slightly more difficult to achieve for certain units. Okay? What they're saying is if I have a 5-man squad of troops, GG. I roll a 6-sided dice, subtract 1. It can never actually not be 5 or less. So it's always going to secure the data point, right? So, but if you have a 1-man character, he can retrieve data. He can do it. But he has to roll a 1. He has to literally roll a 6-sided dice to roll the 1. 1 in 6 chance. So what they're saying is that bigger squad sizes equal easier, right? 6 or above. And if you're a troop, 5. It's almost guaranteed. So I like that they're thinking of like people who have really obnoxious small MSU elements like these servitors or these 2-man bodyguard squads for the Dark Angels and things like that. I like how they're saying like,
a little exploitive.
It is for sure. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, no, that's ridiculous. We don't want you to take a fucking 30-point model that's going to get you 12 points in the game. We want you to take models that kill things, and we want you to use those things to win the game. So I think it's a move in the right direction. I think it's a slight overlay of complexity to achieve that result, but not too complex.
No, I think it's followable.
But I think the issue is it really doesn't stop what I believe is the problem. So maybe they just have a different feeling of what the problem is. I feel like giving me access to select and curate my asymmetrical mission for myself, I will always take the path of least resistance to achieve my goals. And so if there are secondaries that don't require me to go over you to win, I won't.
Yeah.
I won't pick them.
Why interact?
And so they're providing me with, again, like I can't even look at the other secondaries with how easy Octarian data is or whatever it's fucking called now. What is it called now?
Nachman
data?
Nachman.
That's still, it's laughably easy. There's no difference. My army doesn't, my 10-man cultist squads, my 5-man plague marine squad, they all were retrieving data. They were going into strategic reserves. They were coming out of board edges. It's guaranteed. The only thing up for debate was I had a Death Shroud squad, a 4-man squad. And they would retrieve data a bunch. Right? And then I thought I would move it down to 3-man and bring us some spawn. Well, I'm keeping it 4-man. Because, they're going to drop in, right? And as long as I don't roll a 5 or 6, they retrieve the data. Right? So I have 3. I'm going to get 3 every game from what I have. And they're going to drop into a spot, stay safe. They're going to not roll a 5 or 6, and I'm going to do exactly what I do. So if I do roll a 5 or 6 the first time, I guess I'm just going to stay put for a turn. But slight change. It's still so fucking easy. I'm never not going to take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, shit. I might even find points to get a 5th Death Shroud in there just so I can
roll better.
Roll
more better.
Yeah.
Nah, I agree.
I mean, I'm just trying to be as objective as possible. Move in the right direction, for sure. Yes. I would have taken it a different place, though. To encourage more attack mentality.
More engagement.
But it is called Shadow Operations, so
yeah. I don't know. I mean, well, we know Frontline Gaming is going to announce some changes to their tournaments at some point in the near future. So that'll be interesting to see if they're a little bit more engaging. But yeah, this is Shadow Operations. So
it's so it is by its label not engaging. I
don't know if people took teleport homers, but it completes at the end of your turn as long as they're troops.
People did take teleport homers. That's a nice change. That's pretty cool.
I don't think you've ever been able to do it as a character, but might see some more play with those.
I mean, honestly, I do like it because it does actually. I mean, I think the change to bring it down is actually enough to keep me.
Yeah.
Because here's the problem with grind. The reason I like grind is to my earlier point. Grind doesn't say I need to kill shit in your army. It says you need to kill less shit in my army than I killed in yours. It's a big difference. So it's again a passive scoring route. I use grind to present you with tough, scary units. I try to get you to attack them. You put a lot of resources into bringing down something. And then I, quite casually, select 2 very squishy things from your army, and I kill them. Then I'm done. People will watch me do it, too. I'll target them until they're dead, then I'll spread the rest of my attack power out and just kind of whittle multiple things down. Right? Then it's your turn. You kill a thing. You take all your remaining resources, you drop a thing. Cool. I'll now pick off 2 of the squishy units that I had already whittled down last turn, right? With just air and bolter fire. And then again, I will spread out my power and whittle and just keep whittling down. And I do this for like 3 turns. And then they kind of see like, you're never going to kill more units than you have to in a turn. I was like, no, because I'm leaving. And then if there are huge threats in their army, maybe I'll knock the huge threat down and then throw some bolters at the unit that I had whittled down the previous turn to get my 2. Right? If I need to knock 2 big units down this turn, I will put everything into them and leave the whittled units. And they're watching me do this. And I'm like, it's the most passive, gamey version of killing stuff in your army. I'm always leaving something squishy for the next turn. Because when I get into like that final turn where like I need to max this, you know, and all you have is a tough unit left in your army, and all I have is a tough unit left in my army, and neither of us have the 1-turn kill power to kill each other, but I left these like 2 cultists alive in your backfield that I could drop 1 mortar on and finish off. I get my fucking grind and I max it out. So it's like, it's a really gamey way of going about it. Whereas now, when I look at, bring them down, and I actually max it, and I don't have to think about this gamey shit, and all I gotta do is just kill shit in your army and just keep a tally, I'm very interested in that. Because now it's enticing.
Mm-hmm. Some direct attacks. Well, those are the major changes. So we'll definitely know more. And if this comes out at the same time as last year, it's probably going to be summer, July. You know, notwithstanding any supply chain issues, or they could just drop it whenever they want. Who knows?
Shit. Maybe they'll just kick it over to the licensing department and let them fucking go nuts.
Yeah, here guys, do something with this.
You guys are saving our asses right now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's exciting. Either way, it's still exciting time in the hobby. It's just, you know, some people have some hang-ups, and a lot more people might be appearing at your local game store soon. Who knows?
True story. One more podcast this year. We'll have Wyatt back from New Orleans next week. Get to walk us through his final GT performance with his Black Legion in his pursuit to Best Chaos Marine. He's right there. If he has a good weekend, he's going to go into LVO with the same list and try to win it out. But he's already said if like he gets his ass kicked and he just falls down in the ranks too far, then he's going to unveil some really wacky chaos shit at LVO. So we'll see what happens. Root for him, though.
Yeah, for real.
Our own Wyatt becoming Best Chaos in 2021 will be pretty sick.
Definitely going to keep an eye on that one this weekend. Oh, yeah, I guess it starts tomorrow, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Keep updated on the social medias.
Yep.
I will hound his ass to post. He sometimes forgets. He gets excited.
Don't we all?
Yeah. I do get excited when I'm playing my games.
Well, I'm excited to get out of here. So what do you say?
Yeah.
So I think that's it for this one. Wyatt will be back. Last podcast of the year next week, like Kenny said. But before then, head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content and early access videos. Become a veteran of the Long War today.